sharks on my ankles. I drink pop. My neck got little big sharks on my ankles. I drink pop off my bra, I cut the bangles. I go military boys with the angles. Gotta upgrade the stars out of space for me.
Good evening, Jets Nation. Welcome to the Jets Duo Show. Had some intro malfunctions, trouble, whatever you want to call it in the beginning right there. But we are back in business. Italy Jet coming back from a long trip. How you feeling, man?
Dude, I am not here. Let's just be like that. I am not here mentally, physically, emotionally. Your buddy went through a lot these last 12 days. But it was all good things. Of course, there's going to be some stressful things along a 12-day trip, nonstop flying, driving, it was a lot, but it was something that I'll never forget. I really enjoyed my time. I went to North Carolina first, then Rhode Island, Boston, went to New York, went to New Jersey, and then I came home. There was a lot of things I did. It was awesome. But, dude, I'm here. I'm ready. We're back. It's been a while. And the Jets, I was there. Sunday Night Football, baby.
You was there.
It was, oh, my gosh, what a roller coaster ride. Again. So, I'm excited to talk about it. Jude, how you doing, man?
I've been doing good. I was more mad after we lost against the Chiefs than after Rodgers tore his Achilles, which I don't know what to really make out of that, but nonetheless, it's kind of what I was feeling after the game. Yeah. I really thought we got cheated out of that game at first, and now that everything's coming out, was that really defensive holding, pass interference, whatever the call was, yada yada yada? Was it actually a hold on Jermaine Johnson, the whole 9 yards? But after the game, that looked like a hold. That didn't look like a penalty, and my tempers were flaring. I was riled up. I was super mad. Might have said some things that I regret, but nonetheless, it was just an interesting week. And now this week we're going up against the Denver Broncos, who have the same record as us, who we had all these tempers flaring with during the entire offseason. So they're technically a rival, I guess you want to put it like that. And also, we played the last 3 years against the Broncos in Denver, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, one game couldn't have been in New York. I don't really understand that. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and well, before we talk about the Broncos game, of course, we're going to go ahead and talk some of our thoughts on the Chiefs-Jets game, starting off with Zach Wilson. First, let's go ahead and check out the comments. Harlan, back in the chat. Love to see you back, man. He says, howdy, guys. How goes? You just heard what we feeling right now, man. We want to know how you're feeling, Harlan. But overall, me and Italy Jet, we're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well. And speaking of pretty well, I would describe that as Zach Wilson's performance Sunday. I mean, you look at the title, Zach Wilson plays best career game. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He balled on Sunday. So, Italy Jet, is Zach Wilson back? Was he ever really in? But is Zach back? It makes for a cool title. Is Zach back? It rhymes. All right, take it away.
I have been screaming for this for a long time. And I don't know what's going on over there, Jude, but you sound like you're on a roller coaster ride.
I am.
Honestly, he at one point, last week, he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. He was bottom 2. That was bad. And now it's like something clicked. And I still have a firm belief. It's when they changed up the offensive line due to some injuries. I think when Hackett gave him the chance to have a system around him, they just came together with his arm. Like, his arm is a great asset. He doesn't really fumble the ball. He runs really well. I think they kept up. He just kept up, and he almost beat the best quarterback in football. Like, in football, Zach looked like he was I would say some spots of his first year and some spots of his second year. There was always, and Jude, you know me, you talk about this. There's always moments where he is just so damn good. And there's moments where it's like, oh my God, he needs to be in the XFL or CFL or something. It's 1 week, but it's a week that changes our entire organization. We're not going to get a QB. We're sticking with them. You still got Simeon. We brought in Simeon. We don't need to go out and get someone else right now. The Broncos game is going to be a true testament because they suck. They suck really bad. I mean, Dolphins won 70 on. So, shoot, I would love to go 40 on them. That would be great. Just give me 40. But I think these are steps in the right direction. The Hackett used this system in the running game. He used this system in the red zone with Uzama, like I've been preaching. Just let the guy go, let the guy be loose, because the offensive line wasn't doing him any favors. But Zach Wilson needed to grow up a little bit, and I think he has grown up a little bit. I think you're seeing the small things that we have been preaching about. It's one game, Jude, but if he can continue, that would be fantastic. Then I would say I'm all in, but right now I'm still a wait and see. I've never been a Zach Wilson truther. I've always been a Zach Wilson believer. Like, he's my quarterback now. Now I'm not going to root against him. I believe in him, but he just needs to continue. That's all. He just needs to continue. And if it doesn't work out, then we have to look at other things. But right now I am a believer.
And that's a great point. I mean, you said it plenty of times. It's just one game. And that was my whole thinking this week. Yeah, Denver has a terrible passing defense. Miami hung up 70 against them. Justin Fields threw 335 yards, 4 touchdowns against them. Like, their passing defense has been terrible this year. So naturally, after a big game from Zach Wilson, you would have to assume he's about to put up crazy, stupid numbers once again. But it's Zach Wilson we're talking about. I don't know if we've ever seen him consistently playing back-to-back great games before, and I'm not going to sit here and just expect him to do exactly that. I'm not going to put all of my confidence in the New York Jets winning this football game just because we had a good Zach Wilson performance on Sunday. But what we saw from him on Sunday was out of this world. I mean, as I said, it was his best career game. The throws he were making were absolutely on point. I mean, we never seen Zach Wilson make throws like that before, make decisions like that before. The player we saw against the New England Patriots and the player we saw against the Kansas City Chiefs was complete night and day difference. I don't know what got into Zach Wilson. Maybe he heard all the Joe Namath comments. Maybe he heard everyone saying everything about him online. He saw that we're signing a quarterback in Trevor Siemian. Maybe that was a sign of losing faith in the Jets organization. He says, I have to win it back. And he went out and had a performance like that. Maybe that's why. Maybe those are some reasons fueling him. Or maybe this is actually what the kid has been able to do this entire time, and we've just been using him wrong. Because this season, we've seen that version of Zach Wilson in games before. You think of, I mean, I'm just going to go week by week here. Bear with me. Week 1, we had that touchdown drive, with Garrett Wilson had that insane touchdown catch. Zach Wilson had some big third down throws. We were moving the ball in the run game, but we were just letting Zach Wilson rip it. Week 2 against the Cowboys, in that drive right before half where we put up 3 points, we were just letting Zach Wilson do his thing. He ran the ball all the way down, and Austin Cyber got a field goal. Against the Patriots, the one touchdown drive we had, we just let Zach Wilson rip it. We let him fling the ball. And this entire game against the Kansas City Chiefs, we just let Zach Wilson rip it. We just let Zach Wilson sling it, and we saw the positive effects it brought. So if we can just let Zach Wilson cook, let Zach Wilson do his thing, it might not actually be the worst thing in the world. And we might actually see some major success from it if we can just continue to do this. I mean, the offensive line, I thought, did a solid job protecting Zach Wilson. Joe Tippmann's been balling. Elijah Vera-Tucker, I think, is a better tackle than guard. Just my opinion. And I just think this offensive line has gotten a lot better over these past 2 weeks, which has also helped to some of Zach Wilson's success. But really, I mean, what we saw from Zach Wilson was completely unheard of, was just insane. I don't know if I would think on him having the same success, but who knows? Back to you.
I mean, it's the Broncos. They are one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. We have the same record. Yes, we have the same record. Right. But, dude, we manhandled that front line.
We did.
Like, we went in there and we exposed the Chiefs defensively and offensively. Some of the calls with the refs, yeah, that sucks. But Zach Wilson did everything he can. He put it out there on the line. Yes, the fumble at the end. Yes, that's his fault. But you could see the elevation of him in press conferences and taking responsibility. He even ran it in for a touchdown. Like in the first quarter, 17-0, right? I'm there. I'm like, oh crap. This is just like, oh my gosh.
You're thinking about heading home.
St. Louis Rams days, working for the Rams, and I'm over here like, oh. But then they open the playbook. That's what you build the system around. That's why you put in Joe Tippin. That's why you put Becton on the left side. That's why you use your assets. They even put Wilson in the slot. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then you throw it to Lazard down deep. And then you got Ruckert involved. You got Uzama and Cochran involved. I have been preaching the last
Xavier Gibson.
I've been preaching the last 6 months. Please involve Uzama in the red zone. I know he hasn't been a good blocker, and I totally get that. I totally understand that. But Ruckert had a really huge missed block for Breece Hall that could have been a touchdown. Not only that, though, Gibson was involved. Tomlinson? Who was that guy? Who the hell was that guy?
He's been cooking.
What the heck? I mean, finally. For what he's getting paid, finally.
Right. Finally.
Everything just seemed to click. But let's hope that Zach Wilson and Hackett and everyone else can carry that forward. It seems like everybody believes in him now. It seems like everyone's not. And you know what? I'll say this, Jude. It's the Aaron Rodgers effect. Aaron Rodgers came back,
right,
and that's what helped. I firmly believe when Rodgers came back, that's what helped.
Yeah.
And then he looked at signed Trevor Siemian, and then you got the Anakin Skywalker that I posted on Twitter. That's when you got that shit in the face. That's what happens. You got a jolt out of him. Go out and get your money, bro.
Zach Wilson is in just complete revenge mode now. Revenge mode now.
I would be too, though.
I mean, yeah. I mean, all the stuff that has been said, Zach Wilson needs to realize if I want to make a lasting career in this league, this is what I got to do. I got to have these big primetime performances, and that's what we saw him. And I just hope and pray that he can have the same success this week against the Denver Broncos. But moving on to more takeaways from the Chiefs game. We've, covered a lot about the offense. The offensive line had themselves a pretty good performance. Breece Hall, 6 carries, not the best. Got to get him more involved. But nonetheless, I could see why the Jets didn't run it a whole lot just because Zach Wilson was cooking. I said it kind of felt wrong to take the ball out of his hands Sunday night. I don't think that's wrong just because he was dealing. But the run game, Breece Hall, only 6 carries. He was still on that pitch count. No longer on the pitch count, which we'll talk about later whenever we discuss the Broncos. But what was just your overall thoughts on the rest of the offense's performance outside of course, Zach Wilson?
I thought we did a lot of great things. I think the people that need to shine, shined. But those penalties against us and the constant mistakes on mistackling on the defense, and then some of the blocking needs to be a little bit better on both sides. It was not good. And that's why I think caused some of these penalties. And I think that's what caused some of these things to escalate to stuff against us, even though there were the bad calls. And we dropped a few interceptions again. Come on, man. Some of those were turning points. And then finally Mosley got an interception to make up for the last one. We're still making those little mistakes, even on third down. That's what we have to against the Chiefs. We don't have to be perfect, but we got to bounce back nicely and can't make those mistakes. So it's just those small things, and then we're fine.
We got Porto in the chat. He says,
Jude
and the other guy.
Yeah, I don't know him.
Hand pink waving to some type of emoji.
Yeah.
Harlan, we do see a chat, so we will cover them in just a bit. While we're talking about all this stuff.
I don't know him. I don't know who it is.
But Harlan says,
now he knows. Now he knows me.
He remembers now. He remembers now.
I don't know him, and now we know each other again. Hey, shout out to Porto though. Sorry, man. Shout out to Porto, man. It was really great spending time with him this past weekend. 48 hours with him. It was some of the most amazing experience and craziest times I've had on a trip. And man, we're going places, especially him, man. Shout out to Porto, bro.
Oh yeah, 48 hours to Porto. Not sarcastically. I mean, that sounds fun. That sounds
fun. It was
48 hours with y'all too. I mean, that must have been a blast.
Next time we'll get you to come out, bro. We got to get you to come out.
Hey,
definitely.
I'll try to come out, man. All right. But Harlan says passing on first down most times again. That definitely contributed to a lot of our offensive success in this game. We saw just them open it up a lot more. Just open it up more offensively. We threw a lot of it on first downs. One drive, whenever we scored, we threw it pretty much every play. Only ran it one time. So passing on first down. Oh, just seeing your comment now, Porto. Sounds like a bad Hallmark.
Oh my god. No, that's that's like that's an MTV reality show, Jigga.
TLC. He also says Jets should have won. The officials gave that game to KC. Yeah, it's been said like this entire week.
I agree.
I'm still seeing tweets about how the officials rigged it, and it's already Wednesday. I mean, there's nothing really you can do about it now. Looking back now, I hope we don't get in apologies from the NFL saying, "Oh, wish we, we shouldn't have threw the flag there. Our bad, mistakes happen. We should have threw a flag there," type stuff.
Right.
But I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing at all. But I do agree that some of the calls were definitely fishy. But moving on to this week against the Broncos, we've already kind of covered some of the stuff we could do on offense. I mean, Denver's defense has been bad. I mean, week one they started off on a hot note, but pretty much for the rest of the year after that, last 3 weeks they've been terrible. 35 to the Commanders, 70 to the Dolphins, 28 this past week to the Bears. It was a pretty, nonchalant performance from this Broncos defense. They've allowed, I want to say, past 3 weeks, teams have thrown for 300 yards past 3 weeks against the Broncos. They ran for over 120. I mean, there's just been a lot of holes. They have been without a couple players, and Justin Simmons has missed the past 2 games. Joseph Jules missed last week's game. They were without, one of their best run-stopping defensive linemen, and Mike Purcell. So there was some pieces missing on that defense. Of course, Frank Clark also missed the first 4 games of the season. And most of those guys return to practice this week. Frank Clark looks like he's getting back up IR this week. So the Broncos are getting a bit healthier on the defensive side of things. Who knows how many of those guys are actually going to play? They did return to practice this week, so who knows what kind of indication that's going to be.
Right.
But the bottom line is those guys don't make up the whole Broncos defense. Those guys are still part of some of these bad Broncos defensive performances, and they really just honestly, it has to be one of the biggest downgrades from a defense in recent memory. I mean, Broncos always were built up to be this defense juggernaut, and then all of a sudden, boom, 70 points allowed, and it's like, what's going on? What's happening with this Denver defense?
I mean, you have one of the best corners in the game, or the best corner in the game. I mean, they've always been a defense team. I mean, including when Peyton Manning came there, then the offense started to pick up, and then they won a Super Bowl. But Broncos have always been known for developing and getting great defensive pieces. I mean, that Super Bowl run, that defense led the Broncos. So it's interesting to see what kind of Broncos team we get, because Peyton, as much as I don't like Sean Payton, everything that he's done lately, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a get right game for them. We gotta expect, with Jets fans, we're coming off a win against arguably the best team in the game, but you're going against a team with the Broncos that's desperate for their second win, just like we are. We're 1-3. They're 1-3. I think they're going to be ready for us, but I seriously think that we're going to win this game. I think we're coming off too much of a hot hand of excitement. I think it's going to fall in place. Knock on all the wood. I hope so. I just think that everything that Peyton has said is going to fuel this team, and coming off a team that we've almost beaten, I think this is going to be a down to the wire game, but then the fourth quarter, we're going to explode. We're going to explode. I think we're going to win 40-20. I really think we're going to win 40-20. I think everything that's been built up, I expect 40 points. I expect Wilson to get a touchdown, a running touchdown again. I think he's going to throw to Lazard in the red zone. I think Brees is going to get a touchdown. I think our defense is going to hold up. I really do. I know Reed is in concussion protocol. I hope he can play. They're expecting him to play, but Eccles is going to be out with a hamstring. That does suck, but we worked out Mitchell. I know Warren and Warren's back on the offensive line, but I don't know if he's going to play. But I know the other guy from LSU,
Jared Bernard Converse.
Yes, he's back in practice.
So who knows if he's going to play?
I don't think so. It's just going to be interesting. I mean, this game is going to come down to the fourth quarter. This is going to come down to refereeing again because we keep getting screwed. But if we played the way we played against the Chiefs, I can't see us like not losing this game. I just the way we came back. If we could just not make those little mistakes like we did at the end, man, this team, ooh, it's gonna be interesting, man.
And I mean, on paper, it seems like the Jets should win this game.
Yeah, on paper, we're the best. We're the better team. We're the better team.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, we're the better team, but somehow heading into this game, Denver is the betting favorites. And Denver is coming off of a win, but also coming off a win, barely beating a bad Chicago Bears team. The only reason they beat the Bears is because they had a defensive touchdown. You know, it was a Justin Fields fumble. They returned it. That gave them the lead, and, you know, Chicago was never able to get it back. That's the reason why they won this game, that game. But in that game, Justin Fields had arguably his best game ever, throwing for 335 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. He bought out. And, I mean, it's just the interesting thing is you really can't – I don't really know how to gauge the Broncos because I don't know why they're doing so bad to start the season off. You know, they have a lot of talent on that roster, but you just got to look – the defense has just been super underperforming because the offense has been playing well, I think. I mean, Russell Wilson, he's thrown for 1,000 yards so far this year, has like 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's been dealing. The run game hasn't gotten going yet, which, you know, is a reason, you know, some of their failures on offense. Their offensive line has been, it's been average, you know, kind of to where the Jets' offensive line has been this year. They both allow the same amount of sacks. The both offensive lines are kind of in the same territory, but just defense has been a huge letdown for Denver this year. The pass rush has been playing terrible as well. So, I mean, it's just interesting to look at this Broncos team because you see who they're coached by and all the talent on the roster. You would think, oh, they're going to be a solid team this year. And then they go out and not exactly have an impressive start to the 2023 season, especially with Sean Payton as their head coach. But heading into this game, I mean, as you said, there's going to be a bunch of tempers flaring. Everyone's going to be, you know, both players on both teams are going to be wanting to try to get this win after what the Jets said about the Broncos. Well, first off, what the Broncos said about the Jets, and then what the Jets said about the Broncos. It seems both teams hate each other. Both coaching staffs hate each other. So you don't really know what teams, you know, if this rivalry is still there, what type of stuff. But I'm expecting the Jets players to come out. Same with Denver, to come out wanting to win this football game. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a must-win game in week 5, but it kind of feels like that. You know, if you want to make it to the playoffs, have a shot winning. Need to win this game. So it's just going to be a tough battle. It's going to be a tough battle. And I really do think the Jets are going to edge out the Broncos in this game. I think it's going to be close. I don't necessarily think we're going to rout Denver, but I do think it's close. Give me, let's see, 23 to give me like 23-19. 23-19 Jets. Going with a bit of an odd score prediction here, but give me 23-19 Jets. I think we're going to win it. I think we, you know, allow some points towards the end of the game, but we're going to hang on to win it.
Oh man, I like it. I'm more going that we're gonna like come alive in the fourth quarter. I understand keeping it tight. I understand that this is like a Jets momentum shifting, but then a get right game for the Broncos. But overall, I think this is still going to be a good game. I just think that coming off a win is going to be coming off a loss that we should have won is going to fuel them, in the Broncos drama, I think is going to fuel them enough to get that win. I feel it. And it's because the offensive line has done so much better. I think just adding Joe Tippmann, switching Becton on the left, Tomlinson getting it there, Vera Tucker. And I just think it's gonna be a blood battle, man. I'm excited, man. I'm so excited, dude. Let's go. JDS, baby.
And I'm really excited for this game too. And what makes me excited thinking about this is we could potentially see another Zach Wilson masterpiece. That's kind of what
potentially
is exciting me, along with Breece Hall getting off of his pitch count. The flashes we've seen from him this year on his limited carries, and then with him now off the pitch count, makes me excited. And it's also a revenge game for Breece Hall too.
Yeah, he got injured. And Vera Tucker. You're going to let him, dude, there's no pitch count anymore. I know they're still going to let Cook do something. I get it. $7 million you're paying him. I get it. It sucks because I want Carter to play a little bit more. I've been saying this all year. Izzy's going to be that second guy eventually. I want him to get some time. But, man, dude, you're going to release Carter with this offensive line right now? Oh, man, it's going to be good.
Pitch count off of Breece Hall is coming back to Mile High where he tore his ACL last year, where he was about to have a monster game.
And Vera Tucker.
Who was balling.
Oh, man.
So, hopefully we can see Breece Hall pick off where he left off in Mile High last year.
Facts.
But, man, I'm excited for this game. But the only thing that really concerns me is DJ Reed. If he doesn't play, I think that could be a huge blow for the Jets, just because Bryce Hall would be our starting corner, and Bryce Hall's been terrible so far this season. Bryce Hall's fifth string cornerback. I mean, we're not going to put Michael Carter on the outside. Yeah, we're getting Tony Adams back this week, but he's not a corner.
Unless we switch Ashton Davis to corner, I don't see that happening. But Ashton Davis had an interception against Mahomes, which is he's quietly getting it done. Which I'm like, oh God. Well, God. Oh, God. Anyways.
I'm about to say, because Denver's a pass-heavy team. They pass it a lot, especially with Javonte Williams being hurt. You can expect a lot of, Russell Wilson throwing the football this week. And if they're going to do all of that against, Bryce Hall having Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy going up against him, I think that's a potential mismatch that could do some numbers for Denver. But at the same time, it's just, if DJ Reed plays, that's just completely different for this defense. But then if this defensive line could finally deliver, get some pressure on the quarterback, who knows what could actually happen in this game. Because, we were just able to hold Patrick Mahomes in check. He barely threw for 203 yards. I did the math, and this was actually the 9th lowest amount of passing yards he ever had in a game. And of course, that's including his, fill-in appearances whenever he was a rookie against Alex Smith, and games where he's left due to injury, and games where they put him in for a series because it was week 18 and they were already clinched the 1 seed. That's including all that stuff. So if you crunch the numbers and take out all these meaningless games, it probably was the 4th most, 5th most least he's passed in a game. So the Jets were able to hold MVP Patrick Mahomes in check. I definitely feel like we can hold Russell Wilson in check. It's definitely possible. We're just going to have to see what the status on DJ Reed is. That's going to be a huge breaking point in this game. But nonetheless, I still feel like the Jets are going to be able to get this done. It's just all going to have to deal with if this offensive resurgence is legit or not. And let's just hope it is.
And not only that, Gregory was just released. $70 million contract, 5-year. He only played 10 games.
Yeah.
Ooh, they're having some problems over there on that defense, man.
They are. Some problems, definitely. Just going back to the pass rush. If this game, if Zach Wilson's just going to have time in the pocket, if we can give him that time to cook. But it's like we gave him the time against New England. He didn't do anything. But if we can give him, some time against Denver, not as great passing defense, then who knows what can happen. But, man, I'm just hoping for a Jets win in this game. I'm feeling a Jets win for the first time this season. This is the first time this year that I've actually predicted a Jets win. So let's see how that rules in favor for me. But let's go ahead and give some of our closing thoughts here. Italy Jet, you got one last thing to end this, one last thing to say. Let's go ahead and hear it.
I'm exhausted. Go Jets. Kick the
Italy
Broncos
Jet
butt.
this time. My closing thoughts, let's just make Sean Payton eat his words. Let's make him eat those words that he had this offseason. And let's just show him who we are. Let's just show him that.
Let's go.
That'll do it for today's stream. Want to appreciate you guys for tuning in. Jigaman Porto, Harlan, appreciate you guys for coming and checking us out. Can't leave without plugging the socials though. Italy Jet, you got some socials to plug. Let's go ahead and plug those.
Follow me on all social media platforms except TikTok. I'm Italy Jet. I do all 8 shows a week, and that's me. Let's go.
Alrighty, and we will see you guys next week. Deuces.
My neck got little big sharks on my ankles. I drape out off my bra, I cut the Bengals. I go military boys with the angles.